Hi, I'm Mitch Richards. I'm with Keep Columbia Free here in Jeff City, the capital of Missouri. 2 years ago, Keep Columbia Free, a political action committee in mid-Missouri, was formed to stand up against red light cameras, surveillance cameras, and excessive government. Here we are 2 years later, and I'm about to speak at the Capitol itself.
I am pleased to tell you that Mitch Richards is with us. He is the treasurer of Keep Columbia Free. He's been that since 2010. They are a political action committee here in Missouri that are dedicated to protecting and defending economic and civil liberties in Boone County. Keep Columbia Free has spoken out against the red light cameras, something I really hate. They've gone out and talked about police militarization, government surveillance, biometric databases, burdensome licensing regimes, and any and all tax increases at the municipal and county levels. In addition to helping run Keep Columbia Free, Mitch is a speaker and an organizer for the Fully Informed Jury Association. He's co-host of a radio broadcast, Mid-Mode Freedom Forum. It's a weekly radio show on Columbia's KOPN at 89.5 FM. By the way, I'm on 93.9 FM. I just thought I'd throw that out there. And he's a member of the Columbia Citizens Police Review Board. Mitch, come on up.
If it's any consolation, Gary, I've listened to your show for a long time. I regularly take cues from you, so there's nothing wrong with learning from the best. Thank you for having me. As Gary said, I'm Mitch Richards. I'm the treasurer and a spokesman for Keep Columbia Free. We're a political action committee, and we support both civil and economic liberties here in the state. You know, we've heard a lot today about explicit taxes, direct taxes from the federal and state government. Speakers have mentioned runaway government and endless borrowing and burdensome taxation. What I would like to talk to you about today, what I want to focus on at the federal, state, and municipal levels, and I'll be pretty quick, I won't take too much of your time, are those kinds of ways that government taxes us that are unjust, that are deceptive, but are no less oppressive than normal taxation. What I'm talking about is what I would call today taxation by other means. You know, tomorrow is tax day, but tomorrow is not the only day the federal government taxes us, as many of us know. The most egregious form I can mention, the most egregious example of taxation by other means is, of course, embodied in the Federal Reserve. It's the Federal Reserve operating in its vacuum. It's very much, you know, the embodiment of plutocratic government. It has little oversight, despite the noble efforts by folks like Representative Ron Paul of Texas to audit it. Dramatically expanding the money supply has a very direct effect on every American, particularly working class Americans. It, of course, devalues, by printing money, it devalues our dollar, and it depreciates its purchasing power. So by dramatically doing that, we exact a tax on our people, which is not a normal tax. Many people call it, and I like to call it, the inflation tax. Because every time you print money and you expand that money supply, you weaken the purchasing power of the people, which, of course, is in effect a tax upon them, because they can buy less goods and services. So it's not an official tax, but every single percentage point of inflation is a tax on the people. And it's important to remember, low-income families' only asset is cash. They get cash when they are paid, and they spend cash to buy food and services for their families. Interestingly, the Fifth Amendment of the Bill of Rights is supposed to guarantee due process for the taking of property by the government. And make no mistake about it, cash is property. By depreciating its value, the federal government is in effect seizing our property without due process. Disproportionately, this affects the most vulnerable among us, the poor, working families, low-income folks. The inflation tax is very much the working man's experience with taxation by other means. But to be clear, here in the state of Missouri, it is not enough to tax us directly, as we all know. No. The state of Missouri is not to be outdone by the feds. Here in Missouri, before you can engage in commerce and pay your typical taxes on the sale of goods or services, first you must pay protection money to the state in order to get the legally mandated license. According to our bureaucratic masters right here in Jeff City, we need licensing in order to protect the public from itself. Licensing, which by the way was originally a feudal economic practice that the American Revolution was supposed to get rid of. Yet here in Missouri, we have a licensing regime that would make a French monarch blush. We license over 50 professions at the state level: professional boxers, professional wrestlers, private investigators, barbers, real estate agents. The list goes on and on. The state of Missouri is trying to tell us that we as citizens, we are not competent enough, we are not rational enough, we are not informed enough to be trusted with decisions as basic as choosing with whom we will contract to cut our hair and sell our homes. These kind of licensing regimes are problematic not just because they are unnecessary, not just because they are offensive to our personal sense of responsibility and liberty. They also constitute a form of taxation by other means. The government collects revenues on the registration fees associated with the licensure, and of course the licensure itself creates a barrier to market entry for those engaging in the given service. And that of course increases the cost to the citizens to contract and purchase the service, and also it increases the tax dollars that return to state coffers from the sales on these services. But to be clear, taxation by other means is not limited to the state and federal level. It's also at the municipal level. Where I live in Columbia, this is very much a matter of policy. For example, Gary mentioned red light cameras. In my humble opinion, this is very much a prototypical example of taxation by other means. They're not democratic, but rather punitive, and are sold to the public in the great blanket of safety. Safety, safety, safety. The problem is, they don't make us safer. That can be done by increasing the timing of yellow lights at intersections. But that is because red light cameras are not about safety. They are a way for the government to tax the body politic by other means. Expensive red light tickets, along with stepped-up traffic enforcement, are both the fruit of the economic crisis our country is presently suffering. As municipalities struggle to balance their budgets, instead of cutting spending, they simply levy even more taxes on working families. Now we hear in the city of Columbia that we need to license bartenders, waiters, and other servers of alcohol. As sovereign citizens, the city of Columbia believes that we, the people, cannot make rational decisions. That we need training in order to enforce temperance laws. We are told that if you're a bartender, that is a profession which can provide a livable wage to someone without a college degree, you need a license to know if someone is under the influence. The point I'm trying to make is that the mentality, the mindset that I would like to instill in folks here and everywhere else is how important it is to steadfastly guard against infringements upon our liberties and our property. Life, liberty, property. That is our birthright, our natural right. We need property to ensure liberty, and we may we not forget, that a life devoid of liberty is simply not worth living. So, these infringements on our liberties and our property often come in uncharacteristic or counterintuitive ways. I want to emphasize how important it is to be wary of governments, be they federal, state, or municipal, who attempt to shore up budgets, not by cutting waste or inefficiency or spending, but by simply further taxing the people of our proud republic by other means. So, I humbly ask you all to join me in sending a message to our elected officials. It's very simple. Stop violating the Constitution, stop infringing upon our sovereignty, and third, most importantly, stop spending our money. It's been a pleasure to speak to you all today. God bless you all, and thanks for having me.
So there you have it. That's what you can do. That's what we can do if we get involved, if we speak up for our rights and our liberties here in Missouri. If you'd like more information, you can go online to our website at www.keepcolumbiafree.com or on Facebook, Keep Columbia Free. We need more people involved to stand up for our economic and civil liberties here in Missouri and across the country. So help us keep America free.